Hey everybody, welcome to our unit on America's founding documents. Hopefully you had a chance to take a look at my introductory video where I outlined some of the documents that we'll be discussing during this unit. I'm excited truly about starting the year this way. The founding documents are the base, the core, the foundation, if you will, of America. And I think to have a better understanding of America, we need to have a better understanding of these documents. So I'm glad that we're starting off this way. So let's go ahead and get right into it, guys. Let's start with a little brief timeline I have here. I love timelines, you guys. I think most history teachers probably would agree with me on that we love timelines. But yeah, let's give you a little idea of the order of events. Of course, in 1776, you had the Declaration of Independence, which we'll be talking about first. 1781, you had the Articles of Confederation. Of course, that was actually the first Constitution. We're on our second Constitution now, but the Articles basically governed the colonies during the Revolutionary War period. Then in 1787, you had the Northwest Ordinance. Later in 1787, you had the United States Constitution, which is still in existence today. The next year in 1788, you had the debate, right? The Federalist and Anti-Federalist debate. We'll be getting into that and the differences of opinions they had there on the Constitution. And then in 1791, you have the first 10 amendments to the Constitution called the Bill of Rights. So there it is, guys. There's America's founding documents and the order of events in which we will look at them. But hey, let's get into the Declaration of Independence, everybody. It was written July 4, 1776 by Thomas Jefferson. There are 4 parts to it. These are the 4. The preamble. It explains why it is being written. The second is the natural rights section that states that people have certain basic rights that government should protect. The third part of the Declaration is the list of grievances, colonists' complaints against the British government. And then the fourth part is the Resolution of Independence, right? It declares the colonies are free and independent states. So that's the 4 parts of the Declaration, you guys. The preamble, the natural rights, list of grievances, and then Resolution of Independence. So what are some of the concepts, you guys, outlined in the Declaration of Independence that we need to be aware of? Well, it says the Declaration of Independence was written to express the ideals that Americans believed government should be founded on. These ideals embodied in individual and civil liberties include unalienable rights, consent of the governed, equality of rights for all citizens, and responsibility of the government to protect the citizens' rights. Now, in a minute, we're going to take a look at the primary source document itself. But I was thinking when I was reading through here, what in the world is unalienable? Unalienable rights. I was thinking that's not a word that we use very often. So, you know what? I actually Googled it. I looked it up, and I'm actually looking on my other screen right here in front of me. And it says impossible to take away or give up. Impossible to take away or give up. That's unalienable. So we have unalienable rights, rights that are impossible to be taken away or given up. And good principle here, guys. If you ever run across a word that you're unaware of or unsure of, Google it. That's why I tell the kids in class, Google it, look it up. Especially when you get into primary source readings, you guys, some of the words can be a little challenging. So, use your resources, look it up, find out the meanings, don't just skip over it. But anyways, where are these concepts actually in the Declaration of Independence? Well, let's go ahead and take a look at it, you guys. Let me pull it up right here. I have it right here in front of me. The Declaration of Independence, guys, here it is, July 4, 1776. If you're in class, I included a link to this in our course folder. If you're viewing this video and you're not in class, you know what? Google it. Look it up. Declaration of Independence. It's all over the place on the internet, so take a look at it. I encourage you to do that. But hey, look, I'm not going to read the whole thing because we're going to do a close read of this in class where we get into the nitty-gritty and tear it apart. But I do want to share a few things and share where a few of these ideas are shared here. A few of the beliefs and ideals, I guess, are in the Declaration of Independence. Of course, the first paragraph is the beginning, right? Is the introduction. It's stating, hey, this is why we feel compelled to declare ourselves independent. So that's the first paragraph. But I just want to share a little bit here in the second paragraph. I'm not going to read the whole thing. But it starts off by saying, we hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights. There's that word again, guys, right? Unalienable right? Things that can't be taken away. And what are they? That among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Of course, Thomas Jefferson got that idea from a British political thinker that we've talked about in former classes, John Locke, the famous British political thinker and early Enlightenment thinker who came up with the phrase life, liberty, and property. That was his wording. Of course, Thomas Jefferson changed it to the pursuit of happiness. But there it is, guys. There's one of the ideals, that people have unalienable rights, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness that cannot be taken away. Then it goes on to say that to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men, deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed. Now, in the PowerPoint slide, it said consent of the people. Right here, it says consent of the governed. And who are the governed? Well, you guys, the governed are the people, right? Very, very significant statement right there, you guys. It says that to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men, deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed. Government gets its powers from the people. People don't get the power from government. Government gets its power from the consent of the governed, which are the people. Then it goes on to say that whenever any form of government becomes destructive of these ends, it is the right of the people to alter or abolish it, and to institute new government, laying its foundation on such principles and organizing its powers in such form as to them shall seem most likely to affect their safety and happiness. So whenever any form of government becomes destructive of these ends, it is the right of the people to alter or abolish it. So government's job is to protect the rights of the people. If they don't, the people can change it, okay? So very, very important concepts that we need to understand. It goes on in the paragraph to really basically just say that, people are, for the most part, willing to suffer a lot and take a lot of abuses before they make change. But in this case, the king went too far. He crossed the line, if you will, and thus we need to make change. And so then they go on through the rest of the document to basically outline what some of those grievances are. So I'm not going to read all those. You can do that on your own. I encourage you to do that. But I just want to share one thing at the end. I think in my introduction, again, there's a long list of grievances right there as I'm scrolling through here. Right? And then they have their closing statement. But I think I mentioned in the introduction video that, the signers of this document, that was definitely a line in the sand, right? I mean, there was no turning point. There was no turning back. There was no plan B. It was success or failure. There was no in between. I mean, this would have been considered an act of treason, right? These 56 people who were willing to sign their name in this document meant that, hey, there's no turning back. We're moving ahead. We're forging ahead. We're moving forward. And that's exactly what happened. The Declaration is the beginning point of it all, July 4th, 1776. So if you're in class, hey, in the classroom assignment folder, there's going to be an assignment that we're going to work on, a close read of the Declaration of Independence, where we really get into the nitty-gritty detail and all the detail of it. If you're not in class, hey, I encourage you to Google the Declaration, take a look at it, read it, have a working knowledge of it. Very, very significant. It's really the starting point of the United States and our history. So very, very important that we have a good, solid working understanding of it. So hey, I look forward to seeing you back in class and or in another video. See you later. Bye.